During the meeting last January 7, 2016 of Formulary Executive Committee, sir, Dr. Joyce Ducusin, who's the head of the Family Health Office, she mentioned to the body na they were asked to submit the list of priorities, no, for funding na manggagaling. So, in-advise po sila may pondo at mag-submit kayo saan gagastusin. Among those submitted ay nandoon po ang HPV, nandoon po ang Japanese encephalitis, PCV, and she said meron pa rin doon nakasama nga na mga equipments. So, they submitted that December 10, 2015. And then, she said to the body, doon po sa FEC, na wala silang narinig from DBM, she got the advice na the DBM on December 28, 2015 asked them to prepare the procurement documents for dengue vaccine. So, sir, I want to ask, who decided among the list submitted to you that the money will be spent to dengue vaccine? Considering po na pneumonia is a big problem, among others. So, sino po ba ang nagdesisyon na, okay, let's pick this? Kasi nakalagay po dito sa sinabi niya, the proposals from different agencies were listed and dengue vaccine was number 18. So, sino po talaga yung nagsabi na, okay, that money will be allotted for dengue vaccine procurement?
Well, what happened was, as already shown graphically by Secretary Garin, that the increasing incidence of dengue cases started in 2010, and the figures both on morbidity and mortality were alarming. Starting that year also, there were already talks of a vaccine undergoing clinical trials, and which held promise to be able to address this alarming problem. So that was the starting point for all these talks about vaccine. And at the time that the 2015 budget was being crafted, the vaccine could not be included in the allocation of budget because it had not acquired certificate of product registration, which would allow the manufacturer to sell this in the market. It was only on December 22 when the FDA issued the CPR, and on that date itself, we received a memorandum, a copy of a memorandum by the DOH addressed to the President, proposing the use of savings to be able to procure this vaccine that has now been certified by the CPR. So that was triggered by a memo from the Department of Health. And the basis for that has already been presented to this assembly. Since this required the use of savings under Article 6, Section 25(5) of the Constitution, the President has to approve the declaration of savings and the augmentation of any deficiency in item of appropriation to which the savings will be used. So therefore, ultimately, we had to recommend to the President the declaration of savings and the augmentation of the deficiency. So the President had to act on that on the basis of both the recommendation of the Department of Health on the more technical side of the issue, as well as from the DBM on the budgetary as well as fund release policies pertaining to the issue. So that was what happened, Mr. Chair.
Sir, how much yun pong total na part of savings ang naibigay niyo po talaga sa Department of Health?
I think
All in all. With
It was a little over 11 billion pesos because it
Yeah.
included a request from the DOH to fund the construction of rural health units as well as barangay health stations. As you know, the Philippines had not been able to comply with the MDG goals of maternal and child mortality rate, and one of the reasons for that is the absence of facilities where, for example, childbirth could be performed in a sanitary way. So this was seen as an urgent and an important priority that needed to be funded, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. So, you confirm po na what convinced you and our former president to allocate that amount to dengue vaccine is because the former Secretary of Health recommended it.
On the basis of the presentation here,
Yeah.
which was a research based on data coming
Yes,
from
sir.
different
With all
agencies.
these things happening now, yung pong maraming mga tanong on this the clinical trials, on the process of getting the CPRs, and the procurement process. Gusto ko lang pong bigyang diin. Ano pong malalim na tanong ang ibinigay nyo kay Secretary Garin tungkol doon sa bago na bakuna na ibibigay sa 1,000,000 bata to make sure na it will be, wala talaga safe and wala kayong ikakatakot in the future? Kayo po ba ay nagtanong ng mas malalim about sa clinical study sa kanya? Or basta na lang po tayo na-convince doon sa presentation niya? Kasi kung gusto mong i-justify na yung pera at ang burden ng disease ay para dito, kaya mong i-justify, sir. So, gusto ko lang malaman kasi doktor din po ako eh. So, I have a different, pag ako ang tinanong nyo, I won't go to dengue vaccine. I would rather go to PCV and HPV na proven po naman ang naibigay. Nakita na po yung, hindi lang po yung efficacy and yung after several years, effectiveness. So, ano pong mga itinanong ninyo kay Secretary Garin?
Well, you are making now a judgment on the basis of hindsight, which we did not have during our time. So, I'd like to believe, but there'll be in a better position to answer you, that there could have been adjustments in their approach if they had the information that they have today. In fact, we're not even sure yet about what information to believe because to this day, there continues to be conflicting views about things. But I'd like to believe that things would have changed if we had known what is known today, but that was not possible then. In fact, our action was really guided by prudence because there was this alarming problem and there is this potential cure for it. So, after getting the assessment coming from the Department of Health, and, we had to defer to them because as far as we are concerned in the bureaucracy, they are the experts in this area, And we looked at it, well, of course, from, understanding the problem itself, but not as deeply as they know it, but especially from, budgetary and fund release policies. And we told ourselves, if this potential cure is going to be available, then we have to arm the Department of Health with the necessary resources so that, if it's a viable cure, then they will have in their possession something that they can use to deal with the problem and not, allow many of our countrymen, hundreds of thousands of them, to be continually exposed, to this disease. So that's why we made those decisions at that point, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no further question. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Secretary.
Co-Chair.